Welcome to Impact 2023. This is our continuing conversation where we talk about all types of different things, different topics from current events, race, religion, everything that you could possibly think of. This is our safe space for open and free conversation. And as always, to those who have been here before at Impact 2023, we encourage people to type your questions and your comments in to be a part of the conversation. So please feel free to type whatever you want to that's pertinent to our conversation into the comment section, and it will be addressed. And so, as always, we always encourage people to do so. This is a conversation, so it goes both ways. All right. For those of you who may not know, it is June 2023, and every June for the past couple of years has been celebrated because it is Pride Month. For those of you who don't know, Pride Month is the celebration of LGBTQ and all of the extra letters that I don't know anymore. It is the celebration of that month. And that's when there's a lot of activities at corporations, at government places. There's a lot of opportunities to celebrate the fact that there's diversity amongst people's identity when it comes to sexual orientation or their sexual identity. And so the different type of people. And that's a celebration and acknowledgement of those people and the things that they have done throughout history. People could give their stories and other things such as that. One such event happened today where Pride Month individuals went to the White House. Numerous organizations will then raise the flag at their corporate offices in support of Pride Month. There has been items sold at different stores to celebrate and support Pride Month. Like any other month that celebrates a particular group, they have last month was Mental Health Awareness Month. Last month was also Asian American and Pacific Islander Month. As we all know, there's Black History Month. And so there's months throughout the year that celebrate different organizations. But this month is Pride Month. And for some people, that is a challenge. There is a battle there. Those who are anti or just not in support of the whole LGBTQ movement, or maybe not just be in support of celebrating, those particular choices. So not that you're against it, but just, you don't need to throw a party for it. So there's some confliction there for some people. We're talking about this today because it comes to the church, Christian folk. With it being Pride Month, where do we fall in line with it? Not on an issue of whether it's correct or not, right or wrong, but how do you respect somebody else's space, especially when you comes to the fact that we look at society and there's a legal space that they house. And so just some quick examples. One, like I told you, we had LGBTQ individuals were able to come to the White House and celebrate there with the president and everything. And so there's a legitimacy there that has been put in place. Stores such as Target put in Pride Month articles of clothing and other little items that were for sale. And controversy came down because some people were threatening the Target stores, threatening to bomb the Target stores, threatening violence to the employees inside the store, just because they were selling items. And so there is a little cross current here, especially when you're talking about the Christian faith, the Christian community, or people who claim to be Christians who are going out here, because most of the folk when you start threatening violence and things like that, or getting really ridiculous when you're talking about other groups, and you really should be questioning these people's uh, saying of being Christian. But it comes to how do we, whether we agree or disagree with someone else, allow space for them to do what they need to do, and then also allow space and opportunity to keep the door open to the Christian faith. Because if you're locking people out, you're locking people out. In the sense of how do we allow space? It's Pride Month. You can believe what you want to believe, or you can partake in what you want to partake in. I may agree or disagree, or um, it may allow there to be space there for you to do what you want to do, and also allow space for you to be able to participate with me now or later on, or on whatever kind of way that you want to. And so that's the overwhelming question. How do we, as Christians, allow that space? And so, for those who may wonder, all right, please explain more. Traditionally, not traditionally, but what has been what people commonly think of when they think of the church. You think of a place that's not LGBTQ advocates. You're not sitting here saying, well, that's the way that you should be. Because in the Bible, there are constant references to some of the activities that they partake in not being appropriate. And so there are constant references in the Bible of not having a homosexual lifestyle. So you can then change that to the whole transgender situation or non-binary or whatever you want to go down the line. And so because of that, it is, well, how do you go to a place, a job that has pride things and participate, and not be not necessarily participate, but how do you act when you go to a job that's having pride events, or how do you act when you go to the library and they're having pride events, or what do you do when you take your child to school and they're having pride events, or how do you navigate this whole landscape of LGBTQ when you may or may not disagree, or should it be a situation of, you shouldn't participate. You should stand firm and in your and really on your opinions, and arm yourself with your opinions and put them out there and say, hey, I don't agree with this. I'm not going to participate in this. I'm not going to, give this any kind of light in my personal space. How do you do that? What do you do with that? And I think that is a challenge for some folks. For other folks, it's not. It's not a big deal. I'll tell you that where I work, there is a lot of advocacy for the LGBTQ group. Where I work, you better not say anything bad about that group, or you're going to be in trouble. So you don't have a lot of opportunity there if you had a differing opinion to really kind of voice that. A lot of places are like that now. But the question is, do you even need to be voicing? Do you walk around every time you see somebody? You see somebody who drinks a lot. You walk around and say, hey, you're doing wrong. You shouldn't be drinking a lot. Or hey, if you see somebody who, is a womanizer, and you're like, hey, you shouldn't be out here womanizing. Like, you don't really go up to people and voice your opinions all the time in that light. So is it any different when they're having these other groups and organizations going all along? The issue we have in society today is how people respond to things they disagree with. Violence is certainly not the proper response. Absolutely. I totally agree with that. Violence is not it. Usually when you're going to the violence route, when you're initiating the violence route, let me put it that way. I think that that's one of the ways that you know that you're probably in the wrong. You're probably in the wrong. Now, I'm not going to sit back here and say violence is never warranted. There is a certain point, I think, that sometimes you have to do some violent actions in the sense of you may have to tear some stuff up. Not hurt any people, but maybe you might have to tear some stuff up. Maybe. But yeah, violent. If you're initiating violence, or if that's where you want to go, I don't think that's the way to go. So, for example, when we're talking about Target, and we're talking about stores, and people are saying, "Oh, we're gonna bomb the store, or we're gonna do that." That's not. I don't think that's appropriate. I think you need to give people space. Target is a huge store, or let's just not even say Target. I hate the fact that I keep saying that store. Um, you go into these stores, these shopping centers. They're huge spaces, and if they've dedicated one small portion to one group, whether it be Pride or whether it be some other group, I don't think you should get bent all out of shape over that. We see stuff all the time that we don't agree with. I'll tell you something I don't agree with. I don't agree with people coming out here wearing very short shorts with words on the back of them. I think that's ridiculous. Why do you have words on your shorts? So you want me to read words on your backside? Like that doesn't make any sense. I think that's silly. But I don't go out here grabbing everybody saying you shouldn't have clothing with words on your backside. I don't do that. And I know that seems silly, but that's what you're doing every time you're trying to go up to people and you're advocating and saying you shouldn't do this, you shouldn't do that, you shouldn't do this every single time you see somebody. Like I think that sometimes we gotta be able to navigate our lives a little differently, where we don't have to be critical of everybody in their space. But should churches participate in Pride events? Some do. Should churches be having a flag, a Pride flag? Some have raised it. Should churches be advocates for the LGBTQ community? Some have. There has been numerous, and we've talked about it here. There's been numerous incidences of churches, especially it's been happening big in the Southern Baptist, Methodist, and Episcopal churches, where they've had conferences that have split because of the whole issue of LGBTQ. That was the primary issue for their split. And time after time, in the past couple of years, I mean, it's happened multiple times. It just happened a couple of weeks ago in the Methodist Church, where they've had splits on the issue of LGBTQ. And the question is, because some churches wanted to be able to be a safe space for these people and advocates for people. And so they wanted to allow leadership positions to people who are LGBTQ. They wanted to raise the flag during Pride Month. They wanted to celebrate Pride Month. They wanted to do those type of things, and that went against what the broader conference, the broader organization stood for and was going for. And so the question is in Pride Month, just simply, is how do you navigate the space? How do you allow people, because you have people, you have different types of folks. You have people who are in the community of LGBTQ who may also believe in God, but want to be Christians, who are Christians. You have people who have family members, loved ones who are in that space. They're Christians. They believe in God. They're in church. You have people who just advocate for them because they love everyone. They're in church. What we have to do, or we have to what we're discussing is, how do we make sure that, as it is Pride Month and as it is this space, how do we make sure that we don't become a organization or a group of people who are, for lack of better words, a bunch of haters, where we're just hating on folks. And how do we navigate the space of Pride? And I can only, there's really no answer to be had, because it's so diverse. But I'll just tell you, how I do it. I pretty much try to keep everything on the same scale. If the Bible says, when we're talking about what the Bible says, and you're looking in the Bible and it talks about lying, cheating, stealing, all of these things. And how do I treat someone who I know is lying, or who has stolen, or who has done something else? How do I treat myself who has lied on an occasion? And then why would I treat someone who does something else that violates the Bible any differently? And so the same way I'm going to treat somebody who um, does one thing that the Bible says don't do. I'm going to treat somebody else the same way, which is what the popular saying is, hate the sin, not the sin. And so, yes, I may disagree with some of the activities that you do, or may not be a fan of, not even just not a fan. But it doesn't mean I can't allow you to have space to do the things that you want to do. But it's weird. It's like, for example, if they had a National Liars Day, would you participate in that? Would you be okay with people having that? You'd be like, oh man, because you're celebrating something that Bible clearly says, or they're having a celebration of something that the Bible clearly states is incorrect. You're bearing false witness, as it says. And so if they had a National Liars Day or National Liars Month, how would you feel about that? Well, in reality, that's what April Fool's Day is. In reality, we do have things like that. And so every time that there's something that you disagree with, what do you do? And then do you really have to have that much of an opinion about it? Is it something that we should be discussing, or we should have such strong opinions about? Society has changed, and it's turned against people having stances against people choosing their own identity or their own path when it comes to how they want to live their relationships in their life. Society has vastly flipped from when I was young to now being where whatever you choose, it's all good, versus you need to stay in this particular lane. And now that it's opened up like that, and now that society has changed like that here in the United States and many other countries, not everywhere. When you are more of a traditionalist of how things used to be, and you advocate for that, then you become somebody who is really has the ability to harm others' feelings when it comes to themselves and their family members. And so, again, when we're looking at Pride Month, when we're looking at people celebrating the fact that they have the opportunity to live the life that they want to live, the way that they want to live, the question is, where do we fit in as Christians? Do we you want to celebrate living your life the way that you want to live? Great. But as a Christian, this is the way that we live our life. This is the way we're supposed to live our life. And nobody is perfect. So you can come over here and not be perfect with the rest of us and try to be, try to get closer to being a more perfect Christian. But what we don't have to do is just, push you out and criticize you as if your conflict of interest with the Bible is any different from anybody else's conflict of interest with the Bible. Because again, all of us have a conflict of interest with what the Bible tells us to do. All of us are falling short. And so how is mine any worse? It would be terrible if you just are somebody who, habitually lies. I know I keep jumping on the lying one, but I say the lying one because that's the easiest one to kind of put out here. That's the one that I think that a lot of people can just easily fall into. But you habitually lie. You lie all of the time. And you're going to sit here and you're going to talk about an LGBTQ person, or you're going to talk about somebody who calls themselves LGBTQ, who's never done anything, never had a relationship. All they do is just call themselves that. Has not done anything. Like, yeah, they got all of these different terms. They're like, I'm pan, I don't know, asexual, pansexual, whatever you want to call it. You haven't done anything, but yeah, you consistently sat here and lied and deceived and harmed people and hurt people, whereas another person will just throw a label on themselves, and yet somehow you feel like you're better than them or different from them. And so that's the challenge. More or less, the challenge is to give people space of where they're supposed to be. And what is our responsibility? And again, I think, and this is just my opinion, I think it is just to give them space, give everyone space to do what kind of where you want to participate. Not here. I would not be an advocate for a church raising the flag, or having a Pride Day event at the church. That for me, that's not one of the things I would want to go for um, or would participate in. But I would be open to people having their events and loving themselves, but then offering the alternative as well, or offering not even the alternative, offering this is the way, um, that the Bible states to go. And if you want to come over this way, or if you can get with 99% of it, but you still got to hold on to that particular lifestyle, um, you know, let me get the 99% I can get. That's the way I look at it. Another comment: the church is called to be an alternative community, not the moral police. The complaint they had with Jesus is that he ate with tax collectors and sinners. Go on. Yes, yeah, I jump on board with that. That we're not called to be moral police. And again, all of us have issues, and not even issues, things that we think are right or wrong. None of us are going to be perfect in other people's eyes. So, and I think that hits it perfect. Jesus sat down with the tax collectors and the sinners, or the saying, you come to, like, the doctor is in a hospital is going to be full of sick people, not healthy people. And so you're here to help those who need help. Yeah, I do. I think it's an alternate community and not the moral police. I don't think we need to go around here telling people. I think we spend too much time sometimes telling people how much wrong they're doing or how much wrong we think they're doing, instead of concentrating on how much right that we can do. And I think that's where we need to be more so. And so, with it being Pride Month, with it being an opportunity for people to show the different ways that they love themselves, I think it's an opportunity for the church and the Christian community to show the different ways that we can love others, that we can love everyone, regardless of some of the choices that you've made that may conflict with the Bible. Another comment: the Bible says, "He who is without sin cast the first stone." Absolutely. None of us can sit back here and really jump on somebody else. I think that's a great comment, because none of us are flawless ourselves. I think that hits it perfect. And so that's the challenge. I think that's what we should be doing, especially in Pride Month. Again, Pride Month is all about people. From my perspective, it's all about people who have those non-traditional ways, non-traditional relationships, or non-traditional ways of looking at themselves and their identity, learning to be able to love themselves. And again, if you haven't heard anything I said, I think it's the church's opportunity to show how much we can love everyone, regardless of who they are, what they decide to do, what they didn't decide to do, whether they agree with everything we agree with, whether they don't. It's that challenge and that opportunity to push ourselves outside of our comfort zone, to make sure that we are really truly doing what the example of what Jesus did, which is go out into the community and love everyone and show God's love to everyone and show our love for everyone. And so I think that's what our responsibility is in Pride Month. And I think that's a reminder to us as the church of what we should be doing. Again, it's just loving everybody. And you got to give people space to do what they want to do sometimes, as long as it's not harmful or hurtful or hateful or anything like that. Yeah. But sometimes, how people be. We ain't hurting nobody. Just, they over there doing their thing. They ain't hurting nobody. And sometimes we got to be like that. You're not hurting anybody. But let me show you who we are and how much love we have for you. All right. We don't have any more comments coming in. That wasn't a big, long one. That was kind of a quick one and dicey one. We could really go into some weird spaces in that one, but we're not. But yeah, again, as it is Pride Month, let's just take this time and an opportunity to think about what our responsibility is as Christian individuals, and think about our positions or what position we have, and just really think about where we are when it comes to people of that have different views from what the Bible is teaching. Um, and again, and as a reminder that everybody already knows this, there are plenty of LGBTQ people already in the church, and so let's remember that sometimes, because I think we sit back here and we're like it's us and it's them, and it's never been that way. Um, you know, and we all, generally speaking, we all know who those people are. It's not even like a secret, and so you know, yeah, let's just remember that there's no separation there. That they've always been a part of church. All right. With that being said, oh, here we go. Another comment. If we're going to challenge one sin, we must challenge all sins. You're gay, you are a liar or a cheat. Okay, right. Yes. If you're going to talk about one, let's talk about all of them. Lying, cheating, all of that kind of stuff. And that's the kind of point I was trying to hit at a little bit earlier. Is that you know, that's the goal I aspire to, is to treat everyone the same way, regardless of whatever sin I may think that they have, or I think that I have, or whatever. That we kind of all treat it the same way. We kind of, you know, there wasn't a thing that said that, well, this sin is better than this sin, which is better than this sin. Or, you know, I mean, you can make some references to some of the different sins. And the magnitude of it. You know, when you're talking about the deadly sins, and you're talking about the ones, you know, the one which God will not forgive you for, with the different references there. But for the most part, it's not like we're stacking these up and saying, well, this one's greater than this one. And if you are doing that, that's something that you're doing. That's not something that was clearly stated out in the Bible. So yeah, let's attack all sins the same way. We challenge all sins the same way. All right. Well, cool. As a reminder, on Thursdays we have Thursday Thirst, and we're here at 7:00, YouTube and Facebook. 10 on Sundays for worship service, and every Tuesday at 8:00, same time, same place, YouTube and Facebook for Impact 2023. I thank everyone who joined, everyone who commented, everyone who didn't comment and still joined, everyone who was watching this after the fact. Thank you, and continue to be with us each week. And we always look forward to your comments and participating in the conversation. Thank you, and have a great one.